Hey everybody, this is Ty Terrell with IFAS University, and today's video blog, I just want to talk about something cool that happened last night with a client, and it's a Gen Pop client. She does some 5Ks and things like that, but very new to the weight room, very new to the training aspect, or this side of training. And so we've been working on a barbell RDL, which you know, when you have a client, everybody takes their people through the basics. So you got to make sure they can squat, push up, RDL, etc. And I think as we go, like at least for me, like the further I go in my career with training, the longer my career gets, you know, you get further away from maybe the basics of the simple stuff that made you good in the beginning, and then every once in a while you get reminded, hey, I got to go back to this. And so that happened to me last night. And this lady had been struggling for about 3 weeks learning how to do the RDL. And so a lot of it was, okay, you know, feel where your feet are. Can you even hinge? Can you do these things? So just getting her familiar with how the lift should be, and then she just wasn't able to come in and repeat it. You know, and after 3 weeks, I'm sitting there thinking, like, okay, like what am I not doing? So I asked her. I said, hey, Katie, you know, do you even know what you're supposed to be feeling in this lift? And she kind of looked at me and she said, not really. And I said, okay, well, I have. You know, I've missed something, I've made a mistake. And so we went from a barbell RDL over to a cable pull through. And that's just you have a cable between your knees or between your legs, and the cable pulls your hands back like you're hiking a football. And the cool thing about that exercise and why it's really good for teaching the hip hinge is that pull back forces you to load your hips. It kind of helps or aids the hip hinge. And so what we did is I just said, hey, Katie, we're going to find that good hip hinge position with this pull through, and we're going to sit there for 5 seconds. And then we stand back up, and then we go back in it again, find that really good hip hinge position, and then we sit there for 5 seconds. And I had her do that for 2 sets of 5 reps. So each rep lasted 5 seconds. And what I was doing was giving her body a sensation, a muscle sensation memory. And I stole that phrase from Jay Chung, one of our coaches, but it gives her something that her brain can draw back to or go back to and say, okay, I know how this is supposed to feel, and if I'm not feeling this, I need to make the adjustment. And what's really cool is the body will then kind of start to develop its own strategies and start to explore, and Katie starts to figure out how to get into this really good hip hinge on her own because she has that sensation to compare it to. And so after we did 2 sets of 5, we went back to the barbell RDL, and after her first rep, which by the way looked totally different, it was the difference was she could stay balanced on her feet, and she could, you know, get her knees back and everything like that on the way down, and to get her knees out of the way of the bar. But what she wasn't doing was really loading her hips. It wasn't a true hinge. It was more like a stay balanced on my feet and lean over. And then the difference was her hips actually went back, and it was this really nice straight line with her upper back, and she was clearly loading her hips and her hamstrings, and she felt it. She goes, oh, I didn't feel my hamstrings and my butt like that in the first way I was doing it, and this is drastically different. She actually put the bar down, was like, and her exact words were, oh my gosh, that's totally different. Now I know what it's supposed to feel like. And that was a cool moment, and in her brain, that will always be there now, and that's the best part about this. She is now going to be able to self-correct and teach on a rep-by-rep basis because she has a model to draw from now. And you could do that with any exercise. So I think up front, as I kind of reassess how I'm working with my athletes and when I'm first teaching my clients, you know, how to move and things like that, I think it's really important that we provide them with a model for the movement. And if we're not providing them, then they're not going to have, it may take 6 weeks to teach a push-up instead of 2. It may take, you know, 3 weeks to do a barbell RDL instead of 1 day. And so as I look back at what how I messed up with Katie and kind of drew out this RDL process, is that I didn't provide her with a model up front, and that's something that's going to stick with me, and I'm going to be sure that I'm always doing that from here on out. So just a little inside moment. You know, things that we kind of about things that we do well in the past and then we get away from, and we're reminded, hey, we can, you know, we need to come back to this. So mistakes that I've made, I hope I'm sure I'm not the only one that's done something like that. So I hope this helps, and just, you know, as you're with your clients today, just kind of think about, okay, am I providing them, or have I provided them with a movement model so that they can have success, and they should know what this movement feels like, what's expected from this movement, and I think you'll have more success as you move forward in your training programs with your clients. So again, this is Ty Terrell with IFS University, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.